Okay, 3 days of intense arguments over that controversial health care law wrapping up in the Supreme Court. So the question now becomes, now what?
Judge Andrew Napolitano is the Fox News senior judicial analyst. He is here with some answers.
For a minute, I thought Liz was imitating me when she went, now what?
That's so you, right? I'm channeling you.
It's the Jewish-Italian mix there. It's
exactly.
a very use your hand. All right. First of all, this is something that you and I have talked about. I talked to Pam Bondi about it, the Attorney General from the state of Florida, yesterday. Right. Whether or not the same mandate that forces us to buy into a Social Security pension plan, which is a product of a kind, people sell retirement plans all the time, whether that was the same as forcing people to buy an insurance product. Here's kind of her answer. She didn't seem prepared for it. Play the side.
Well, people participate in Social Security.
Not voluntarily. If I had a choice, I wouldn't.
Yeah, that's right. But people who are employed participate in Social Security. We all have it taken out of our paychecks.
But it's a mandate. Again, it is a mandate. It's not a voluntary purchase.
But this is different because this is not an act. And they're also saying this is not a tax, if you recall that.
Well, forgive me, I love Pam Bondi, but I don't see the difference. And here's what your friend, Justice Sam Alito, said yesterday. He said the new health care law forces young, healthy people, quote, to subsidize services that will be received by somebody else. That's the definition of Social Security, as it is now.
Well, when Social Security was challenged in 1935, the Supreme Court found...
37,
well, the challenge was filed in 35, the decisions in 37, the Supreme Court said it was a tax. And because it was a tax, Congress could spend it any way it wanted as long as it was generally enhanced the general welfare. So if Congress wants to add a surtax, I'm suggesting this is the Supreme Court ruling. I'm not defending it. I'm summarizing it. If Congress wants to add a surtax to your income tax and dedicate that additional tax to paying you when you no longer work, Congress can do that under the Constitution. We view that differently today. I think you're right. Today we view that as the purchase of a package because we could go out, your viewers could go out and purchase a pension package almost anywhere, even in this building. That was not the case when Social Security came about. So the court, look, the government threw everything they could at the court. First, the government said it was voluntary because you didn't have to work. The court said that's ridiculous. Then the government said it's a savings plan. We're taking the money for you, enhancing it, and giving it back to you when you retire. And the court said that's ridiculous. Then the government said it's a tax. And the court said, well, you can't challenge the amount of a tax in court. You can only challenge the amount of the tax at a ballot box.
Okay, let's get to the actual health care law. And if some type of change is deemed to be made by the Supreme Court, what is the survivability of the rest of it and in what form? And you could call it, I guess, the severability, that if they find that that part of the law, the insurance requirement, should be excised and cut off, does the rest of it survive?
Now, I'll do my best Justice Scalia imitation.
Okay.
You mean to tell me that we have to go through 2,700 pages of documents and we have to decide which line survives and which line doesn't? That's basically the argument that he made today. Even Justice Kennedy went along with this argument to Attorney General Verrilli, leading us to believe if the questions are a sincere representation of the values of the justices asking those questions, that they believe that the individual mandate will be invalidated and therefore the rest of the statute will fall, because it would be an impossible task for judges to decide which stays and which doesn't. It's almost an economic determination, David, which would be beyond the ability of judges to determine. Congress would need experts to tell it which survives the removal of the individual mandate and what doesn't.
All right. The other part that they were talking about today was requiring states to expand their Medicaid. Apparently, a lot of people are not going to be covered by their employers. Their employers say we can't afford it, and that those people will be insured by the state exchanges, even though a lot of states haven't done anything to start an exchange. 26 states say that's unconstitutional because it's the feds requiring the states to raise taxes locally.
This part is not as clear from the oral argument as to what the outcome will be, because many conservative justices believe that if the states are foolish enough to take federal dollars, they have to accept the strings that come with the federal dollars. Normally, the feds will pay for 100% of something, paving roads, in return for the string, lowering speed limits. Here, the feds are paying 90%, and they're saying to the states, you raise the other 10%, and then you spend all 100, the 90 we give you and the 10 you raise the way we tell you to do it. So it's a little different here. Question, can the Congress order the states to raise taxes, state taxes, and then tell the states how to spend the money? That's what the Supreme Court had to decide. It's not clear which way they're going to go on that.
We have 2 seconds. Best guess. Does this thing fall or stand?
The individual mandate falls. A guess now, a guess from my years of experience, and that will cause the rest of the statute to fall.
Okay. You got to say it like this. Judge, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
So it's all or nothing.
I think it's all or nothing, yes.
Judge Napolitano, and for those of you who don't know, the judge has a huge social media following. Hundreds of your fans visited the After the Bell Facebook page today just in anticipation of your segment. So thank you.
Very kind.
We are.